myself that I make for something great, but I'll never change if I lie here and wait. I keep screaming out that I make for something more, but I need to stop and get my feet on the floor. What am I waiting for? I can't see it. What am I waiting for? The answer is no.
You are tuned in to Will the Thrill. Now, here's your host, Will the Thrill.
What's up, guys? It's your favorite football personality, Will the Thrill, and I'm back today for another video. And today's topic, we're going to discuss why big quarterback contracts hurt the NFL. Just recently, Matt Ryan was the latest of quarterbacks to get another big extension. And I'm going to tell you why I believe they're bad for the NFL, why they hurt the NFL, why they give it a bad rep. First, let's go into details about the first big quarterback contract that was kind of the first domino of all these other quarterbacks getting one. Happened last year, about last August. It was Matthew Stafford for the Lions. They gave him a 5-year, $135 million extension, $60 million guaranteed, and he makes $27 million for his yearly salary. Now, there's nothing against Matt Stafford. Personally, Matt Stafford, I think, deserves it. He's one of the toughest gunslinging quarterbacks in the NFL. He knows how to make a fourth quarter comeback. With him playing quarterback for Detroit, they're always in the game. I mean, really, how many times has he gotten blown out in his career? I can guarantee is not more than 5 times. He is a franchise quarterback, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve the money. I'm just saying that big contract then triggers the next one, which was Jimmy Garoppolo. He was traded from New England to San Francisco for a second-round pick. He was a free agent, and they made the smart move. They locked him up. But, like I said, because of Matt Stafford's contract, you knew Jimmy G's was going to be higher. So let's take a look at his details of his contract. It's a 5-year, $137.5 million contract, $74 million guaranteed, and he's going to make $27.5 million for his yearly salary. This is where it gets to the bad and why it hurts the NFL. Jimmy Garoppolo, how many games has he started? 7. That's right, 7. He hasn't started a full 16. He hasn't been in the playoffs. Matt Stafford, yes, he's never been in the Super Bowl, but he's gotten his team to the playoffs. He's won the division. What has Jimmy G done? No disrespect to him. I think he's going to be great. There's no doubt about that. But this is why it hurts the NFL, because a guy like that's getting the contract off of potential. When there's other guys who have rings, they have MVPs, they have all the stats, the numbers, the legacy, and they're not making a salary like that. And it's, Jimmy G hasn't started a full year. He hasn't played games that mattered in December. When he started for the 49ers, he was beating teams like the Bears and the Giants, and he had a couple wins that were impressive towards the end, like beating the Jaguars and the Rams. But I want to see him play a full year. I want to see him try to get his team to play in January before they give him a big contract. Because you know what? Because of that contract, for a guy who hasn't even played a full year, you know who was next? Kirk Cousins, a guy who had consistent seasons of 25 or more touchdowns. And the big debate was, he wasn't on a good team. He didn't have a good team around him. He goes to a good team, and that good team forked out the contract. So next is Kirk Cousins with his 3-year, $84 million guaranteed, $28 million for his yearly salary. Out of the ones I'm going to talk about, I specifically think that Jimmy G's hurts the NFL the most. But for Kirk Cousins, it does hurt, and it does tarnish a little bit of the quarterbacks in the NFL. Now that Kirk Cousins got $84 million fully guaranteed, yes, he doesn't get it all at once. He gets it yearly and $28 million a year. But he still got that guaranteed. So now it's just like the yearly salary. Every quarterback that gets a bigger contract and so on and so on. Now the guarantee is going to go up. Now the salary is going to go up. And now as we move on to the next quarterback, it's exactly what we saw. Most recently, Matt Ryan was given a 5-year, $150 million extension, $100 million guaranteed, and $30 million for his yearly salary. Exactly what I just said about Kirk Cousins. He got $84 million guaranteed, Matt Ryan, he gets $100 million guaranteed and $30 million for his yearly salary. Now, this is why I'm going to go into detail about how I think this really all hurts the NFL. All these other quarterbacks that haven't gotten the big contracts yet, talking about Cam Newton, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, you got all these guys that are still in their prime, especially Newton and Russell Wilson. I mean, those guys are still pretty young. After a while, don't you think they're going to go to their management and they're going to be like, hey, and this goes for all three of those guys. They're going to be like, hey, I've gotten you to the Super Bowl. This team ain't nothing without me, especially in the case of Aaron Rodgers. He missed half of the year last year. Packers go 7-9, no playoffs, no division, season's over. And with the rumor spreading that Rodgers is going to get a contract extension from Green Bay, you know, based off of Matt Ryan's contract, he's going to get more than $100 million guaranteed. He's going to make more than $30 million a year. He's got more of a case than Matt Ryan. They both have been MVP, but Aaron Rodgers won the Super Bowl. Every year, Aaron Rodgers is a potential MVP candidate, and I think especially after last year, him being hurt and the Packers just being miserable, that's his biggest argument in my opinion. Aaron Rodgers can legit argue that he is the team, because he is. And I think he's more valuable to the Packers than Matt Ryan is to the Falcons, and that's just going to trigger Aaron Rodgers getting a bigger contract, and then after he gets a contract, then you know guys like Cam Newton, and then eventually when Russell Wilson's contract expires, all of these guys are just going to keep getting bigger and bigger contracts. Now, the way it hurts the NFL from an outside football perspective is you hear non-football fans, people that don't really follow the sport, all the time say that these players are overpaid to play a game. And as a diehard football fan, that bothers me more than anything. I hate when people say, oh, they make all this money to play a game. Are some of them overpaid? Yeah. But I don't think it's because of the money. Sometimes if I think a player's overpaid, I think it's because that player's not good enough to deserve it. Like 2 seasons ago when Brock Osweiler got the $70 million something from the Texans. Did I think they were overpaying for a quarterback? No, because of the generation we're in. You know that's what quarterbacks are going to get nowadays. I just think they overpaid Osweiler specifically, and it turned out that, he wasn't worth it. So, as these contracts go up, and the more quarterbacks get the more and more money, they're making over $100 million guarantee. They're eventually, it's not going to surprise me when the salaries are up in the 40 millions. All these non-football fans, it's just going to make us look. It's going to make the players in the league look worse. I mean, you had everything with the kneeling last year, and now with the money, 2 big contracts right off the bat, Kirk Cousins and Matt Ryan. You tell the non-football people, oh my God, they're getting paid that much. And it's like, look, everything they do, the training, good quarterbacks don't come around all the time. From the 80s and the 90s, you could name at least 4 or 5 dominant quarterbacks that were playing at the same time. Nowadays, you got the 2 GOATs with Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. Then you got the guys that have been around and they're good and they've just hanging around like Roethlisberger and Phillip Rivers. And then you got the young bloods like the Cam Newtons and the Matt Ryans and the Russell Wilsons. And then you got the new guys like the Wentz and the Goffs and the Watsons. Those guys eventually are going to be top dogs like these guys are now. But my point is like Matt Ryan, if you don't pay him and he wants to leave or get traded, then what are you going to do? There's very few dominant quarterbacks in the league right now. And if you're Atlanta or Green Bay or Detroit or Minnesota and you're able to get one of them, wouldn't you do everything you have to do to keep them happy? I know I certainly would if I was a manager. So all of that together is why I believe that these big quarterback contracts hurt the NFL. It hurts the management staff of teams specifically because now, with the most recent contract, the Matt Ryan, when your quarterback that you have for your franchise hits the market, you look at Matt Ryan's contract, your quarterback's not going to settle for less. So that's the main reason why I think it hurts the NFL and it hurts NFL teams more specifically is because In the future, you're just going to put all your money in a quarterback and you're not going to be able to build a team around him. I'm Will the Thrill, and that's why big quarterback contracts hurt the NFL. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at WTT Football Page. We'll see you next time.